Fall in, Polk County. This is today's veteran. Hello and welcome, and on behalf of everyone at the Polk County Office of Veteran Services, thanks for joining us. On this installment of Today's Veteran, we will bring you highlights of Polk County's Purple Heart Day celebration and take you to the awards ceremony for a local veteran hero who was awarded a Bronze Star Medal after waiting nearly 70 years. Now stand by for your sit rep, Polk County, and prepare to copy. The Winter Haven Police Department will host a Freedom Walk and Memorial event on 7 September at Central Park in downtown Winter Haven. The celebration will honor our local heroes and pay tribute to those fallen heroes of 9/11. The Freedom Walk will begin at 6 p.m. with registration open at 5:30. The ceremony will begin at 6:45 with special guest speaker Sheriff Grady Judd. For more information, log on to winterhavenpd.com. As the VA continues to reduce the backlog of claims waiting to be addressed, I will update you each month on the progress of the initiative. On 10 August, President Barack Obama acknowledged that the backlog of benefit claims is now 18% smaller than when the initiative began, and now totals fewer than 500,000. Obama said that the VA is still not where it needs to be, but progress is being made. A claim is considered backlogged if it has been in the VA system for 4 months or longer. The Department of Defense continues to work toward integration of women into combat positions. Last month, I covered the Army's plan. Now let's take a look at the Navy's directive to comply. The first assignment of females on board Navy ships was in 1994, and currently over 88% of all billets are open to females. Last month, the Navy proposed to the Office of the Secretary of Defense to open assignments to females on coastal riverine force small craft. The Navy announced that it will make no restrictions assigning females to Marine Corps ground combat element positions when they are opened. The Navy will also follow the SOCOM timeline for potential integration of women in special forces by January 2016. Female officers and enlisted now have the opportunity to serve on Virginia-class submarines, which are nuclear-powered. The Navy will decide by March 2015 if female officers will be assigned to other classes of submarines. Next June is the deadline to decide whether or not to expand assignment opportunities to enlisted females on frigates, mine countermeasure ships, and patrol coastal ships. On 12 August, the Department of Education and the VA challenged education institutions to adopt best practices in order to support educational success for veterans. Over 250 community colleges and universities have begun implementing the 8 keys to success to help veterans on campus, and our own Polk State College and USF are on the list. The 8 keys to success highlight specific ways veterans will be assisted to complete educational requirements and prepare for jobs in high-growth sectors of the economy. George Washington established the Purple Heart Medal on 7 August in 1782 to be awarded to soldiers who have been wounded or killed in action. Last year, the state of Florida designated 7 August as Purple Heart Day. It is estimated that 1.9 million service members have been awarded the Purple Heart in the more than 230 years of its existence. This year, the Military Order of the Purple Heart and the City of Lakeland dedicated a Purple Heart Memorial at Veterans Park in Lakeland. Check out these highlights from the ceremony.
But now I have the honor of introducing those who are going to do the unveiling here. And first of all, I'm looking for, I don't know if I saw wait a minute. Excuse me. I didn't see Congressman Webster, there he is. Congressman Webster's here. Melanie Bell, Chairman, there she is. She snuck in behind me. Mayor of Lakeland, Gal Fields. Is Gal here? I haven't seen him. Juan Cruz. Where's Juan? Juan, get down here. Get down here. He's the Department Vice Commander of the Military Order of the Purple Heart. And Mike Mason, the commander of the military officers, or the military order of the Purple Heart. And with that, why don't you unveil, okay? This is to all you Purple Heart recipients. And thank you for being here, and thank you for taking part in this dedication of your memorial, your monument. You got it? We have a letter from Congressman Rooney, who couldn't be here, but he sent his able aide here. Courtney.
Hello, everyone. My name is Courtney Burgess. I do work for Representative Rooney. I'm his military and veterans caseworker. Dear Chairman Bell, Mayor Fields, Mr. Clark, veterans and supporters, thank you for the opportunity to participate in the unveiling of the Purple Heart Monument. I regret that I am not able to attend this special ceremony in person, but because of your efforts, I will be able to enjoy this heartfelt memorial in the future. By taking part in this unveiling, you are commemorating those who have made sacrifices to ensure our country remains safe, prosperous, and free. Because of your collaboration, this monument will become one of glory and enrichment in our community. Thank you for your support in the creation of the Purple Heart Monument and the significance that it comes with it. The Military Order of the Purple Heart's remarkable composition of brave recipients provides uniquely personal and creditable commitment to the assistance of our nation's veterans. As an Army veteran myself, one of my top priorities in Congress is to ensure the government honors its commitment to those who have worn the uniform and made sacrifices for our great nation. Please know that my colleagues and I continue to have the utmost respect and gratitude for the service our veterans have performed. It is my pleasure to support this dedication ceremony and all that it represents. Thank you for this opportunity. I am honored to represent you in Congress. Sincere regards, Thomas J. Rooney, Congressional District 17. Thank you.
Thank you, Courtney. I would just add a postscript to that. Congressman Rooney, obviously as a veteran, as his letter states, he represents the southern part of the county. We've got Congressman Webster here with us, who has the eastern part of the county. And we have also Dennis Ross and Alan Grayson. And I can tell you, having been on the Hill a few times, as Congressman Webster knows, visiting with him, we have no better support for veterans and our active duty folks than the folks that represent Polk County. And I think we owe him and all of our representatives a big round of applause. Thank you, sir.
91-year-old Polk County resident Homer Allem was supposed to be awarded a Bronze Star for his actions during the Pearl Harbor attack in World War II, but no one told him. It wasn't until he was making funeral arrangements for his wife earlier this year that officials made the discovery while reviewing Allem's discharge papers. Our cameras were there when Allem was finally awarded the Bronze Star with an oak leaf cluster and several other medals of honor. The ceremony was led by Allem's son-in-law, Ed Butch, a retired lieutenant colonel of the United States Army.
It's rare when a service member does receive an award. It's even rarer when the general public sees the presentation of those awards. So for that, I thank you all for coming out for this. Now, the awards Homer is going to be getting this morning, the Bronze Star Medal with an oak leaf cluster, and I'll give you a little bit of history of that. The American Defense Service Medal, the Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal, World War II Victory Medal, and Combat Infantryman's Badge. So we'll start off with the World War II Medal. And Jim Harmon is going to come up here, and we're going to do he's going to do the presentation of that one to Homer. Okay, Jim, here you go. Try not to stick him with it. I'll tell you what, they certainly don't make this easy when you do these presentations. Now, the World War II Medal was awarded to military personnel who served in the military during World War II. Okay, the next award we have is the Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal. That was awarded to service members under the following condition: that they had to serve outside the continental United States in the Asiatic Pacific Theater for a minimum of 30 days between December 7th, 1941 and March 2nd, 1946. And Jim Allem, Homer's son, is going to present that award. What do you expect from a Navy guy here, huh? Oh, I'm sorry, Air Force. Okay, the next one will be the American Defense Military Medal. That was authorized for service members who served on active duty at any time between September 8th, 1939 and December 7th, 1941. So that was just prior to Pearl Harbor. And Homer's daughter Sandy will make that presentation. Now, the next two awards are kind of interrelated. One, the Bronze Star with an oak leaf cluster, and the Combat Infantryman's Badge. Bronze Star was authorized for the military in, I think, February of 1944. So that was an award that General Marshall felt was important for the infantrymen who were suffering the most, losing the most lives, and living in the worst hardships. This was brought on because the Army Air Corps 2 years earlier had gotten the Air Medal. And you know, the Air Force always has to be a little bit better. So the Army decided we're going to do this Bronze Star for the infantry people. So that was instituted in February 1944. Roosevelt signed it, retroactive for eligibility to December 7th, 1941. So Homer got his first Bronze Star during that time period for meritorious service. Then in June of 1944, Homer was awarded the Combat Infantryman's Badge, which is a badge that is specifically designed for a soldier that's either in the infantry or special forces or a combat type unit like that. They're the only people that are eligible to win this award. He was awarded that in 1944, June of 1944. So when Homer left the service, he knew he was getting a combat infantryman's badge and Bronze Star, but it's a small print on the 214, you don't recognize that. In 1947, the military went back and restudied the combat operations in the European and Asian theaters and decided that because of the horrific casualties the infantry people took during that time period, that the winners of the Combat Infantryman Badge, or CIB, were going to be awarded a Bronze Star. So he had no visibility that he was going to get that whatsoever because he'd been out of the service for 2 years. So in this case, we're now looking at a Bronze Star with an oak leaf cluster and a Combat Infantryman's Badge. Two of the toughest ones to win on active duty. So I'll make those presentations now. A little crooked, but it'll do. So I would again, your applause for Homer.
I'd like to thank everybody for putting up with me all this year. This year has been a bad year. I lost my wife March 1st after 67 years. And it's because of that, we're here today. I had to send my discharge to Bushnell Cemetery in order for her ashes to be received up there. And of course, when we went up, they presented my discharge paper back to me and congratulated me on being able to receive a Valor Medal. I said, well, I never received any medals at all. So the secretary here, she talked to her husband, and they got the necessary papers and filled them out for me, and I signed them. And we sent them in to St. Louis, I think it was, wasn't it?
I think it's Philadelphia, Dad.
Whatever. And they sent back a letter listing the medals that they could find, because in 1973 they had the big fire where they kept all the records of all ex-servicemen. And some of mine weren't there. So evidently they figured they would burn up, and the ones that they found, they sent to me. Well, that started it because the big mouth that I talked to Gary. And that's all I had to do was talk to Gary. Where is he? That guy over there. He's my CAP member on every Tuesday morning from 8 to 10. So that's one thing led to another, and the next thing you know, we've got a room full of people that I would say 90% of them I don't know. I say hello to them, but I don't know them. So anyhow, to get back to the story, we went and got the medals, called Bushnell. They gave us a date to bring the ashes up. We took them up on the day suggested, April 10th of this year, which is the day before my 91st birthday. And we put her ashes with no ceremony of any kind where they belonged, and they closed the door, and we turned around and left. Well, after the word of mouth got around and the one thing led to another, why, you can see what's happened. This room is only filled when there's food. So I want to personally thank everybody that was involved and you folks for coming. Thank you very much.
Going back to World War II, I served in the Battle of the Bulge in the 75th Recon Troop. I was a machine gunner on a Jeep and also in an armored car. And our jobs were to go behind the lines and find the enemy for the infantry to fight. So that was an intriguing job. And at one point, that's where I got wounded. We pulled into a farmhouse, and the sergeant told me to go up and knock the corner out of a barn so we could see over the crest. And just about the time I got the corner knocked out, the Germans started firing their 88s, and it went right through the barn. And I got shrapnel wounds in my back and my neck. At that time, we were about 14 miles behind the lines. So we pursued this horse-drawn 88, and then we turned around and headed on back to the lines, and come to find out that the radio operator had forgotten the password. So we got stuck there a couple more days before we could get through their own lines until we got a password. So that was part of our time, and one time we were even 26 miles behind the lines. And we had a fellow named Lindsay. He got hit by a shell and got his stomach all tore up, and we had to carry him around on the back of an armored car, strapped with all our belts, 2 or 3 belts, to keep his insides from falling out. And believe it or not, he lived, and he had made several of our 75th reunions, and he went on to graduate from engineering school. And after we got done with the Battle of the Bulge, we wound up in France, in the Ruhr Valley, not the Ruhr Valley, but into the Colmar pocket, which was almost as bad as the Battle of the Bulge. So we got assigned to the French 1st Moroccan Army, then the French 1st, and finally we got by ourselves, and we had shells landing all over, and we got into the woods, and I got into a crater, and I fell asleep because we'd traveled 2 or 3 days and nights without any sleep going over the mountains in all this snow. So I woke up, and Lord behold, there wasn't nobody around. And I had to crawl out of the woods, and the guys found me, and they thought I'd been hit. But I lucked out, and I hadn't, because there was always a saying, if you laid in a crater, you're about to get hit again. But luckily I didn't. Then I joined the reserve, and then when the Korean War broke out, I got called back into service, and I decided I lost my business. I decided when I was in Korea to re-enlist. So I just stayed on in the Army, and I continued on and served 27 months in Korea. And then I I was in the engineers, and they found out that I had worked at the Coast Guard in big marine engines, so they transferred me to the locomotive repair shop in Korea, and I ran that as a sergeant doing the colonel's job for about 5.5 months. Then I came home and got stationed at Baltimore at the B&O Railroad as a OJT. Then we transferred to Fort Eustis, Virginia, and I wound up as a outside purchasing agent for research and development. And from there, I transferred to Yuma Test Station in Arizona. And then from there, I went to Vietnam, and I served 2 years and left there the day that President Kennedy got assassinated. And then I went back to Korea in 1968 on TDY. At that time, I was working for the Inspector General of the First Army, and I was traveling 43 weeks a year, flying someplace different every week. And one day I got a phone call from my colonel and told me to report to the general on Thursday at 4 o'clock, which I did, and Saturday I was back in Vietnam. So I got stuck there at TDY for another year, and then I came back home and got stationed back at Fort Meade at the IG due to my wife telling the colonel that I was back at Fort Meade. So he quickly requisitioned my services. So I stayed there until I finally retired and on medical retirement on March 19th, 1971. And since then I've been retired from there. But incidentally, the previous fellow he went to Australia. Well, I traveled from Australia in 1932, 33. That's where I was born. And I used to tell the guys, they'd get bitching about the unit and all. I said, look, I traveled the furthest to join this outfit, so stop your bitching. And they'd say, well, where'd you come from? And I tell them. They said, oh my goodness. And another incident, we were in Wales waiting to go to Europe and or to France, and the captain sent for me, and he says, I can't understand these people. He says, how about interpreting this for me? So I was an interpreter with the people in Wales because I was had my Australian brogue then.
In this month in history, Francis Scott Key wrote the verses to our national anthem in 1814 during the Battle of Fort McHenry while he observed the British attack on the Baltimore harbor. We also remember the worst terrorist attack in U.S. history, which occurred this month in 2001 and claimed 2,749 lives. This act began our war on terrorism, which we are still fighting today. That's all we have for this edition of Today's Veteran. Next month, we will update you on news and information that pertains directly to the veteran community right here in Polk County. We will also sit down and chat about veterans issues with Congressman Daniel Webster, Polk County's representative from the 10th Congressional District. Remember, for help and information regarding claims, benefits, and services available to veterans and their families, call the Veteran Service Office or log on to the Polk County website.